Thanks for staying with us. I'm Laura Ingraham, in tonight for Bill O'Reilly. And in the Unresolved Problem segment tonight, a huge reaction to a segment we did last night on The Factor about frustration in some parts of the African-American community with President Obama. As we mentioned, the black unemployment rate in the United States is now at about 16%, which is a lot higher than the overall unemployment rate, which is about 9%. We spoke with Florida Republican Congressman Allen West, who leveled some very serious charges against the entire Democratic Party.
You have this 21st century plantation that has been out there where the Democrat Party has forever taken the black vote for granted. And you have established certain black leaders who are nothing more than the overseers of that plantation. And now the people on that plantation are upset because they've been disregarded, disrespected, and their concerns are not cared about. Look at the devastation in the black communities. You look at what has happened to the inner cities of, let's say, Chicago or Detroit.
With us now to respond, New York Democratic Congressman Charlie Rangel, a longtime member of the Congressional Black Caucus. Congressman, it's great to see you. I know you watched last night. You have some thoughts. What are they?
I'm really surprised at Congressman West in going back to Harriet Tubman, who was a historic figure during slavery time. And I know he's new and he's a freshman, and the more TV you get before an election is very important. But he doesn't come from a political party that can ridicule plantations and that type of thing. I really think at this time, with the unemployment that you've recently shown, it's not just blacks, even though we doubled the national average, but it's every American, and they're fed up with us down in Washington fighting each other. All we have to do is come together on job creation, then we can go on and fight. Well, there's plenty of things to fight about.
Right. Well, there certainly are. And so you're saying that Congressman West, as an African-American, cannot use a plantation analogy. He's not allowed to use that. I'm trying to figure out what words we can use and what words we can't use. I'm very confused by this.
What do you mean we can? Are you confused about whether or not you can use plantations when you're a black Republican?
And the substance of what he says, I think, is very clear. Others, such as Walter Williams, Tom Sowell, I guess they're not authentically black either, so they can't actually say that. They've also made similar analogies. They've said basically, let me finish, sir.
Okay.
What they've said is that basically the war on poverty might have been started with a great deal of good intentions, has been an utter failure for many minority communities in the United States. In the inner city and the school systems, we've seen increasing problems, both within the family, within unemployment, across the board problems. Has the war on poverty been a success in your mind?
Now, this is something entirely different from what you just asked.
No, it's actually all tied together.
You were talking about Harriet Tubman and plantations.
It's a criticism. It's a substantive criticism.
I don't care what he says. If you want to deal with the fact that something worked, then you're 100% right. We can talk about unemployment. We can talk about no, but why do you think?
Is liberalism working for the black community right now?
I swear, I wish I knew. You got a whole lot of different things. If you want to talk about the empowerment zone, which I passed, and we have them all over the United States. That has worked. That's a simple question.
You won't answer the question.
No. Liberalism and conservatism
brought about a number of larger government programs that promised empowerment to the inner city, poor people, minorities. Did it work? It's an objective question.
Listen,
Did it work?
Listen. You find this Republican wants to talk about plantations and Tubman.
I think he's making a point.
I know he is. And now you want to make the point about Lyndon Johnson, the war against poverty. And we are going through a period today of high unemployment.
What has liberalism done for you lately? What has President Obama done for the black community in 2.5 years? I think that's a very serious question. I think it's an important question.
But you haven't asked it. You've asked a half a dozen questions.
You seem to want to quarrel with the wording of questions instead of get to the substance of the questions. And I'm really delighted you came on.
Listen, I'm glad I came too.
So let's start over. Let's try to start over.
Okay. Now forget all the Tubman plantation and all of that.
Colonel Allen West was making a very provocative point indeed. A lot of people have used a lot of colorful language over the years on the left and the right. I think both have.
Yes.
Maxine Waters is clearly very frustrated right now with the president. She let loose on him yesterday saying, look, he's not coming into any black communities. She's coming at it from her perspective. Allen West is coming at it from his. I would ask you, has the president's economic plans, have they panned out for minority communities especially?
Heck no, because the Republicans made up their mind as soon as he got elected.
Okay.
No, but,
Okay, go ahead.
I thank you so much. Your questions really sound like little mini speeches.
Well, I know, Congress, maybe you don't get real questions from real people. I don't know.
I know
These are actually real questions.
This is your show.
Congressman,
what about real answers?
You had a Democratic House, a filibuster-proof Senate, and the White House in Democratic hands, okay? You had that for the first 2 years. Can't blame Republicans for those 2 years, or can you?
We can say what the man inherited if you would permit, me to say it.
Those 2 years, you guys were fully in charge, no Republican House.
We had a deficit.
Did it work out?
We had a deficit. We had 2 wars that we shouldn't have been in.
Bush's fault.
Let me say this, that Bill O'Reilly told me he had a secret weapon. I didn't know it was just a pretty girl that he would bring here.
That's very condescending, sir.
Well, I'm just saying.
A pretty girl. These are serious questions. There's an
You
ideological
have asked
battle
me
going
50 questions, and I'm begging you.
Okay, let's hear an answer. You're not answering any of the questions.
I'm begging you to leave all the plantation stuff and this out of it.
Beyond the
leave out Johnson and the poverty program.
Because that's actually a serious question.
And just ask me one question at a time.
I've asked 4 questions.
The last question you had, there were 2. We had a Democratic president who inherited a heck of a deficit, and he inherited a couple of wars. And then after we lost the majority in the House, I think it's safe to say that the Republicans took the position that their primary objective was not to work with him, but to get rid of Obama. And so even while we wait now, the president's on vacation, and we're waiting for this job program, we have a half a dozen bills.
Should the president be on the vacation?
We have a half a dozen bills that we had brought out.
You guys hadn't passed a budget, sir, in what was it, 600, 700, or 800 days when the Democrats had the opportunity to pass a budget.
I want to let you know one thing. People in America who are unemployed aren't thinking about your budget. They're thinking about getting a job.
I'm not in Congress, actually. You're in Congress.
I said people who are out of work, that lost their homes, that lost their jobs, and they did this on the Republican. They did this on a Republican thing.
The Congressman.
I mean, this is what happened. This is what we inherited.
At some point, does the buck stop at the White House?
It does, but we can't say that we didn't inherit a lousy economy, high unemployment, a high deficit.
So why was he elected? He was elected because he had ideas, right? And he sold those ideas to the public. And then you lost in the midterms, like it happens. But people are up, people are down, no doubt about it.
There was an assumption that Republicans would put the country above their politics. It was clear, and the polls see it clearly, that Republicans would have rather this country go down and default on its international obligations.
You're questioning their patriotism now?
I am questioning the fact that they were prepared to allow the country to go, and they admit this, and they were on television saying it. They are the candidates that are running against Obama.
Congress actually, the debt ceiling was raised, and the president signed the bill, sir.
Did you see any of the 10 candidates? They asked them that if
you... the candidate. You will not answer a simple question. Has Obama worked for the inner city?
No,
good.
Nobody
has. That is a great answer. That is a truthful and good answer.
And the country hasn't worked for the country either. And it's not just in the cities. We got white people, middle-class people, that dreams have been shattered. And I'm not talking about the Bush administration or the Obama administration. No one cares which administration it was. America is made of people who dream and have hope that they could have a better life.
Right.
That was snatched from them, and Obama has not restored that hope that was taken from them by George Bush. Oh, you mean I have to quit?
I wish we had the whole hour.
I wish we do. I welcome coming back. And I'm sorry I said that you were attractive. I withdraw that completely.
I was going to make a joke about the condo in the Dominican Republic, and I didn't make it out of due respect for you. So I appreciate your joining. He should have taken your condo instead of gone to Martha's Vineyard. In a moment,
condo actually wasn't worth that much money.
The richest members of Congress. It was better than Martha's Vineyard. We're going to name names, even though they wish we wouldn't. What a fun segment. Next.